Hello, everyone. I am your Uncle Chef. Today I was playing the cards game with Morty. I asked him to find the winner, but because he is not as smart as humans, so is not able to find the result. So, can you please help us to find the winner? Thank you.
Hello, friends. I am Morty, and I am Chef's friend. Today I played card game with Chef. He asked me to find the results, but I am not smart. So, please find the winner for me. Thank you so much.
Hey everybody, and let's start solving the problem of Chef and Morty as they told us to solve it, because I believe that is the main purpose of programming, that is to solve the problems of others. So let's get started. Now, before solving any problem, we must know what are the rules of that particular game. So let's see. So basically, there are two piles of cards, that is pile A and pile B. And in each pile, there are n cards. And it is given that pile A belongs to Chef, whereas pile B belongs to Morty. So let's see it in easy terms. Now let's get started with the chef and card game. Now basically we have Chef and we have our friend Morty, and they both have piles of card, right? Now the pile A belongs to Chef, whereas the pile B belongs to Morty. In each of the pile there are n cards. Now, one thing which is very important is that on each card there is a positive integer, and it is also mentioned over here that each card has a positive integer over it. That is, it can be anywhere between 1 to the mentioned constraint which are given in the question, which we'll see further. Now, one important thing is that the power of card is defined as the sum of the digits of the integer on that card. Now, basically, the power of the card which the person has is equals to the sum of the digits. Now, more is the sum, more is the power. Let's study it with an example. Now, for example, you have 10 number on your card, then your power is only 1, because because in 10 there is 1 and 0, and 1 plus 0 is nothing but equals to 1, so your power is only 1. Whereas if you have 8, then your power is 8 itself, because in that case you have only a single digit, so sum is obviously going to be equal to that. Now, let's begin the game where we are going to have n rounds. Now, basically, the most important thing which we must understand is that how we are going to decide the winner, right? So, in each round, both players simultaneously draw one card each from the top of their piles and see that which person has the higher power, and one with the higher wins. Now, both of them are going to take out the card, and they are going to decide that who is the winner. The winner of the game, who has more points at the end of n rounds, is going to be the winner. So the person who is going to have the maximum number of points or the power at the end is going to be the winner. So let's start the game of n rounds. Now let's suppose the person, let's suppose this is Chef and this one's Morty. They both took the first top card from their pile. Now Chef got 8 and Morty got 10. Now you must be thinking that 10 is greater, but no, because here we have to consider the power, and we can see that 1 plus 0 is 1, whereas the power of 8 card is itself 8. So in this match, Chef wins clearly. Okay, so here the 1 point goes to Chef, whereas Morty gets 0 points. Now, let's suppose if both have same cards, right? Then it's going to be a draw and both are going to get 1 points, right? Now, the very important thing is that we must know that what are the inputs which we are going to get. Only then we can solve the problem. So, what are the inputs? Basically, there are 3 lines of inputs, and let's study them. Now, the 3 inputs are number of test cases, that is, the first line of input is going to contain number of test cases, right? Now the second line is going to contain n, that is, you can say the number of round played, or you can say the number of cards which are present, right? Now let's move on. We have AI and BI, and what are these? These are the number on the Chef's and Morty's card, right? Like which positive integer is present on the card, that is denoted by AI for Chef and BI for Morty. Now, how we can decide the winner, and that we have to show in the output, like who is the winner. So we have to, print the output that who is the winner, right? So if chefs win, then you have to output 0. If Morty wins, then we have to output 1. And if it's a draw, then we have to show the output as 2. Now we do not have to, tell only these digits or display only these digits. Apart from that, we also have to display the points of the winner. For example, if the chef wins, then we have to display 0, and with the space, we have to display the points that chef has, right? So that is going to be our output. And another most important thing, no matter howsoever easy your question is, the most important thing are the constraint. That what are the constraints that are included in your question, and without them, you do not have to solve any of your question. So let's see what are the constraints. Now it is given to us that the number of test cases would be somewhere between 1 to 1000. So that's okay with us. Int can handle it normally, right? Now the next thing is number of round played, that is n, or you can say the number of cards that are present, that is from 1 to 100. We can handle it using int. Now the next is number on the cards, means if the Morty and your chef is going to take out card, which positive integer is going to be there on the card, that is denoted by AI and BR respectively for chef and Morty. Now it is somewhere between 1 to 10 raised to the power 9, and int has the maximum limit of 10 raised to the power 9, so we can suppose that the int can handle it clearly, but still if there would be some issue, then we'll deal with it, right? Now yeah, now let's see what is our sample input. So this is the sample input which is given to us. Now let's study it. Basically 2 is the number of test cases which we have. So we have 2 test cases, that is test case 1, and here we have test case 2. So let's study test case 1, in which it is given to us that this is n, right? For test case number 1, this is the number of cards, or you can say the number of rounds which are going to be played between chef and Morty. Now this is the case number 1, that is the number on the first card of chef and number on the first card of Morty. So we have 10 and we have 4, right? Similarly, we have 8, we have 12 on the second card, then we have 7 and we have 6 on the third card. In the similar manner on the test case second, we have 2 number of cards, or you can say 2 rounds, and we have the number of on the cards for chef and Morty respectively as 5 and 10 and 3 and 4. So let's see how we are going to evaluate it. Now basically you can see that the first was 10 and the second was 4. So when we are going to add 1 plus 0, we are going to get 1. Like we can clearly see it from here, right? So we can say that BI is greater, right? So Morty gets 1 point and chef is still at 0. Now we move over here and we have 8 and 12. We write 8 over here for chef, and 12 is again 1 plus 2, which is equals to 3. And we can say that 8 is obviously greater, so chef is going to get 1 point, whereas Morty is going to get 0 points. Now we have 7 and 6. It's clear that 7 is greater, of course. So chef got 1 point and Morty is still at 0. Now we are going to add it. We have 2 points for chef and we have 1 point for Morty, right? So clearly the winner is chef. In the second case, we can clearly see that after evaluating, we are going to get 1 point for both chef and Morty. So we can say that it's a draw, right? Now let's see how we are going to show the output. Now in the first case, we know that chef was the winner and the points chef was 2, right? So test case 1, we are going to output 0 and 2 only. In the brackets, these are just for the explanation purpose. You only have to output 0 and with a space 2, right? So 0 because chef win, and 2 because that were the points of chef. Now on the other hand, if it's a draw, then you have to output 2, and you have to output the points of either Morty or chef, because both have equal point because it's a draw. So your answer is going to be somewhere like 2 and space 1, right? So I hope this thing is clear. Now let's get to the question. This was all the explanation which was explained there. Now one thing is very important, that before solving any problem, the first thing is that the question should be really very clear. And now I hope the question is clear. So let us move and submit it, right? Okay, so let's get started with the solution, and I'm super excited to write the solution. So let's get started. Now, the first thing required is that that is the language. So yes, we have selected the language as C++, and we have to add the header files. So I hope this is visible. Okay, now I guess it's visible, right? Now hashtag include. We are going to include bits slash stdc++.h, right? Now this is used for competitive programming most of the time, and we are going to using namespace std so that we do not have to write std again and again whenever we are using scene and cout. And let's start with the main. Oops. Right? Okay. Now let's get started with the main. Now one thing which was important was that we had test cases. Here we have test cases, right? So we have a lot of test cases. There can be any test cases between 1 to 1000. Now I believe that if we are able to solve the question for one test case, then it would be easy for us to solve it for 1000 test case as well. So right now I'm not going to include test case. If our program runs successfully, then we'll include test case. So let's get simply started with int n. And what is int n? That is nothing but the number of rounds played. Let's ask the user to input it. Yes, so we have C and N. Now, the next thing is that we need the number on the cards, that is A and B. So let's create them. Int A, that is for the chef, and B, and that is for Morty, right? Now we know that there are going to be n rounds, right? So we are going to run a while loop for n times where n is decreasing each time till it's 0. And why am I doing it? Because this loop is going to run n times, and we know that there are n rounds, so that's why we are using n minus minus, right? Now let's ask the user to enter the value of A and B because we require it. Why we require it? Right? Because A and B is nothing but the number on the chef's and Morty's card. So we have N and we have A and B, and T we are going to include at the last, right? So we are done with A and B. Now what we have to do? The main thing is we do not need A and B. Instead, what we need is the power of A and B. And what is the power of A and B? It is nothing but the sum of their digits. So I'm going to replace them with A equals digit sum. Now you must be wondering what is it? It is nothing but a user-defined function which I'm going to define now. And we have B equals digit sum of B. The editor is quite intelligent. It is auto-completing it. Now let me create a function over here that is user-defined function, and I need it to return something, right? So it is obviously going to return something, and it is going to take a parameter that can be x or something, right? Now we'll write this function a bit later. Now once we have the sum of the digits, next what we need is we have to check who has more power, right? Now this A and B is not A and B or integer. It is now you can say these are now the power, right? So these are now power of A, right? So these are the sum of the digits, so we can say that these are the power of the cards, right? Now we have to check which has more power, either A or B. So let's get started with the power. So if A is greater than B, means the card of chef has more power, then what we are gonna do? We are gonna increase the chef marks. But for that we have to create a variable, and in that variable we are going to create the chef's marks, and we are going to initialize it with 0, and in the same manner we are going to include the Morty's marks, right? So we are going to create Morty, and that too equals to 0, right? And once we have done it, Now we are going to increment the marks of chef. Why? Because here the power of chef is more, right? Now the next case maybe the power of Morty is more next time. So we are going to use else if, and here you can say that the power of Morty is more, so B is greater than A, and we are going to increment the marks of Morty because now Morty is more powerful, right? Okay. Now there can be situation when both of the marks, or you can say the power of both the cards are equal, as I explained in the slides. So in that case, if the power of both of them are equal, then what we have to do, we have to give both chef 1 point and we have to give Morty 1 point as well, right? Because it's a draw. Now for in case of any confusion, well, just because this is single statement, that's why I haven't used curly braces. And this one, I haven't used braces because this is just a single statement. But here I have two statements, that's why it's compulsory to use braces, otherwise it will only increment this one, right? So if we have to increment both of these, then we have to use the braces, because braces apply only on your single line, right? Now we are done with it. I hope this thing is clear. Now we have done the basic thing, and what was the basic thing? It was nothing but calculating the scores, right? Calculating the scores is really very important thing. Now we are done till this portion, right? We have completed till this portion. We have given marks to Morty, we have given marks to chef, and now in our chef and in our Morty variables we would be having these values. Now our main purpose is to get the output that who is the winner. We have to print 0 or 2. We have this 2, right? But we must know that who is the winner, and to know that we have to check that who is the winner. So let's check who is actually the winner. Okay, so yes, let's move over here. Okay, for this, of course, we have to move out of our while loop. Why? Because this is going to run n times, and once its execution is done, only after complete execution we can get the output, right? So once the while loop has run for n times, after that we are going to conclude that what is the final output, right? So if the points of chef is more than Morty's, right, then what we are going to output, we are going to see out what? 0, because here chef is the winner, right? Whenever chef is the winner, you have to output 0, and along with that you also have to print the points of the winner. So what is going to be the points of the winner? We are obviously going to give a space in between. And what is the point of the winner? That is nothing but chef, because in the chef variable we have stored all the points, right? And let's move on to else if, right? Else if chef has lesser points than Morty, means the scores of Morty are more. So in that case, we are going to see out 1, right? Because here it was mentioned that if Morty wins, then we are going to see out 1, and that too we are going to provide a space, and after that we are going to see out Morty's point. Now once we are done with it, there is a third category, that is else category, and in that we have to see out 2, that is it's a draw. Of course, there were only 3 there were only 3 possible outcomes or output, that is 0, 1 and 2. We are done with 0, we are done with 1. Now the thing which is left is 2 only, so we are going to output 2, that is it's a draw. And you can output the scores of anyone, like chef or Morty, anyone you like, because the scores of both Morty and chef are same in this case. So let us output the scores of chef. Now once we are done with it, okay, we are almost done with our question. What we have to do at the last is write the function, right? And what is the purpose of the function? The main purpose of the function is to find the sum of the digits. Now it's pretty simple, so let's get started. See, we have to return the sum of the digits, so we have to create a variable that is going to be the sum variable, and we have initialized it with 0. so that if there would be any garbage value in it, it would get erased and it would be initialized to 0. Now, the first important thing which we must know is that, let's suppose if x is equals to 0, right? So in that case, we have to clearly return 0, because obviously no sum would be possible for that, right? And let's move on. Why here x is greater than 0, right? Why are we checking it? Because we have to, once x is, equals to 0, then we have to, end up the loop and no any, sum would be possible for that. So we are going to find the sum. So sum is equals to sum equals, and, x modulus 10 is going to give us each and every digit, right? So basically, if we have this, now let's suppose if I'm going to, do 5 modulo 10. Now, if I am going to divide 5 with 10, then the remainder I'm going to get is 5 itself, right? In a similar manner, if I'm going to divide 11 by 10, and I want the remainder, right? Because this modulo gives us remainder, then obviously 10 for 1, and we are going to get 10, and we would be left with remainder as 1. So this is the function of the modulo, in case you don't know, right? So we are done with it. Okay, now this is going to give us each digit, right? So let's suppose if your digit is like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, then on the first execution, it is going to give me 5, right? On the second execution, we are going to do something in the next step so that we are going to get the 4, like 3 and 2 and 1. In this way, we are going to get our answer. And how we can actually do it? It's like we are going to, change the value of x, that is x equals slash 10. What is happening over here is that first, with this line, what we were getting is 5. Now, once we are done, this line is actually changing this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So the next time when we reach over here, then what would happen? Then only 1, 2, 3, 4 would be left, and we will be given 4 as output. Now, if we will again move to this line, then what will happen is that, we are going to get 1, 2, and 3, and in the similar manner, these are going to get reduced, and we are going to get each and every digit, and then we are going to have the sum, and that would be stored in sum. And once we are done with it, the next thing which we have to do is we have to return the sum, because that is the most important thing, which is the main function of this function itself. That is, it has to return the sum of the digits. Now, I suppose we are complete with the problem. Like, okay, now it's good. Now we can do it. Okay. Now, I told you that I haven't applied test cases yet, because if it runs successfully for one problem, then it is obviously going to run for other problems as well. So we are going to, we are not going to apply any of the test cases. We are only going to solve it for a single problem, right? So we are over here. Okay, let me, reduce it. Okay, now we are here. See, this one's a test case, and this is the second part. That is the main problem, right? Now I'm only going to copy and I'm only going to paste it, and you can clearly see that this is only a single test case. I'm not applying it to many, right? So let's run it. If it runs successfully for this, then obviously it's going to run successfully for all the test cases. Now let's see what's the output. Okay, so we have output as 0 and 2. Now we can see that clearly our output is 0 and 2. And how is that output? We explained it, like we learned it over here, that how we are getting it. And yes, the answer over here was also 0 and 2. So yeah, it ran well for it. Now let's try it for the second test case, because I believe if it is individually running well for each test case, then obviously it is going to run well for other test cases as well. So let's run it. Fingers crossed. I know it's going to run properly, because it has already run for the one. And then we'll change it to for all the test cases. Okay, so here's our answer, that is 2 and 1, and let's check it out. Yes, the answer is correct. So yes, we are done with it, and yeah, according to our presentation, it should be 2 and 1, because it's a draw, right? It's a draw. That's why it should be 2 and 1, because 2 stands for draw and 1 is the point of Chef or Morty. Now we have successfully done it for all, like for each test case. Now let's change it for t test cases, right? And for that we have to do nothing. We have to just in create a variable named int t that would stand for number of test cases, and we have to ask the user to give us the value of t, that is what are going to be the number of test cases, and that can vary from 0 to 1000 as it was given the constraints. Now we are going to apply a while loop that is going to run for t minus minus times. Okay, that doesn't mean that it's going to run for t minus minus times, but it means that in every execution the value of t is decreasing, so the while loop is going to run itself for only t times, right? Okay, so let's suppose you gave me the value as 5, right? Only 5, right? So in the first case, what's going to happen? Okay, so it's going to become 4, it's going to run, then it's going to become 3, 2, 1, and 0. And once, it will, if its value is 1, then it's going to change it to 0. And once it's 0, then it's going to run. And when it will reduce further, then it will check that while t is 0, then it won't run again, right? So this, if I'm going to apply, and if the value of t is okay, what I have done, okay, yeah, it's cool now. Okay, so if the value of t is 5, then this loop is going to run for 5 times, right? Now let's put brackets, because that's the most important thing, right? Okay, this is not Python, this is C++. Indentation is not going to create a problem. Okay, now let's close it. We must check that where our loop is ending, because that's important. So basically this is our while loop, and this one's for else, this is for n minus minus loop. It's highlighting itself. See, these are getting highlighted. So this one's for while n minus minus, and we do not have for this one, so we have this for this, and we are going to apply another bracket that is over here, and this is going to complete our problem. Now one thing which I want to tell you is that whenever we would be displaying our results, then we want to display our result in this form, right? That for first test case the result would be somewhere like this in the first line, whereas for the second test case the result would be somewhere like in this form in the next line. So what we are going to do, that is simple. Like what you can do in the end of the while loop, you can use cout endl, or if you don't like endl, like everybody do like but if you can also put backslash in, and don't forget to put semicolon, it can destroy your code if you won't put it, right? So now let's finally check it for our test cases. Okay, so that's the main thing, right? Okay, now let's copy all the sample input from here, and I'm going to put it, okay, sorry, I pressed, okay, now this is the complete one, and yes, we have to run it. You can cross your fingers, I have already done that. Yeah, so my fingers are crossed, so let's see what is going to be the output. Okay, so our output is just correct. It's 0, 2, and 2, 1, just as given in sample output. So yes, it's quite efficient as well, because it's using less memory, less time, and yes, it's successfully executed. So I'm very happy. Okay, so now we can submit it. I hope you understand the logic behind it. It was seriously not a tough question, but the main thing is that we understand the logic. We look at the constraint properly, we look at the input, we look at the output. That small thing actually define the question. And yes, so let's submit it. Okay, I'm submitting it. If it has run properly, then it's going to get submitted successfully. Okay, so congrats, we have done it successfully. And yeah, we have scored 100%, and the time is also good, like 0.06 seconds. So we are done with it. And yes, we have actually solved the problem of Chef and Morty. So yes, Chef and Morty can say thank you to us. Okay, so till then, bye-bye.
Well done. You have really done a great job. Thank you so much. See you later with a new problem. Bye bye.